All right, sorry that we had to go into 2 videos. Something happened. I'm not too sure what. Now, you're going to realize that I have one slide for learned behaviors. You're also going to realize that the definition for learned behaviors is almost saying this backwards, but I put 2 words in the middle. So you are not allowed to miss this. Learned behaviors are behaviors that are learned. Wow, that's a tough one, right? So let's think about things that we have learned. I'm looking around the classroom, and hopefully whoever's at home listening to this is writing stuff down, right? I look back, I see she's writing notes, she's writing notes. Now there's a couple of things that had to happen in order for them to be able to write notes. Number 1, they had to learn to read. Number 2, they had to learn to write. Everyone in here has a computer open, so everyone in here has learned how to use a computer. And if they're watching at home, they've learned how to open the computer and go to YouTube. Learned behaviors. Reading, writing, riding a bike, using a computer, playing sports. Just like I said to the last class. Here in about 13 minutes, it's going to be time for us to go to lunch, correct? Mm-hmm. Someone raise your hand and describe to me the process from as soon as I say it's 11:55 getting to lunch. Like what happens, Kinsley?
You have to get up, you have to get your lunchbox, you have to walk. And
How do you have to walk to lunch? In a straight line, in the gray, right? Quietly. I mean, those are things we've practiced since the beginning of the year. So we're being respectful, we're showing ownership, we're being appropriate, it's responsible. So your behaviors are learned behaviors, right? Your behaviors are learned behaviors. Anything that you've learned is a learned behavior. So we see that learned behaviors is super simple, right? I mean, we've compared and contrasted inherited versus learned. I'm going to add one more. And I added this picture last year because I had a girl who I really thought she would have done her hair like this. And I wouldn't be shocked if I saw her today and her hair was done like this. And I would imagine there's a couple people in here that would do their hair like this if they could.
yes.
Acquired traits.
No.
Acquired traits are very unique things, but they are very easy to differentiate. Dyed hair. Now, if we were all able to take a quick field trip to the hospital and we went to the maternity ward and we went to that little window where they put all the little babies in the room, right? Which I don't know if they do that anymore. But you know the window I'm talking about where they used to put all the... Are any babies going to have hair like this? No. Because that's acquired. Now, I look at the second one, tattoos. I also know that no little baby is going to come out of its mama with Thug Life on its stomach and little guns. It's not going to happen. Because that's something that you have to acquire. Scars. I've told this story in both classes. I'll tell it again. My friend Jeff and I were doing the high jump. We were practicing on the bars at school. We went to North Forsyth and we got on the track and we were doing the high jump. And we kept setting the high jump higher and higher. And we really reached some pretty high goals. We were jumping pretty high that day. And so, when you're in high school, you're dumb, okay? And so, high school Mr. Bullen said, hey, I bet I can jump over that 6-foot fence over there. And so, I jumped over the fence. I was like, the whole upper half of me was over the fence. But you know those little triangle things at the top of the fence?
Oh my gosh, yes.
My knee hit that. And so there's like a line on my knee that is always there from where it said, hi, you didn't jump high enough, and cut my knee open. Luckily it wasn't terrible, but I have a scar. Raise your hand if you have a scar, or a bruise, or a scratch. Oh, wow, everyone. So, scars, hairstyle. Now, this is where I need to get really serious with you because you can get really tripped up on the test with this. Okay? You can get very tripped up on the test on this. You've got to be very careful. So, I look around the room. And, Ashlyn, for the most part, your hair is pretty straight. Is your hair naturally that way? Did you inherit that? Or do you straighten your hair with like a flat iron? Naturally. Is there anybody in here that flattens and straightens their hair in the morning? You take it. You have though.
I have.
All right, who in here curls their hair every once in a while? So you understand the difference between hairstyle and inherited hair. Yes, you have straight hair that you combed this morning. Combing it is your hairstyle. The straight hair, unless you want to do something to your hair, you could get a perm and look like Bob Ross if you wanted to. That would be fine, but that wouldn't be natural. Muscle size. This one is very tricky. Okay? Muscle size also is partly genetics, but partly acquired. Now, listen. We could give Chaz all the protein shakes in the world and tell him, listen, Chaz, you're never leaving this room. All you get to do is lift weights. And he would get bigger. He would be a very muscular person. And that is acquired. But you've got to be very careful because...
Oh my God!
Let's see if can I move? I can't move it. All right. You can't see the muscles on the other side of the video, so let me pause this. Do you understand now the difference between inherited traits, things your parents gave to you, versus things that I learned, versus things that I acquired? Tattoos, earrings, hairstyle, hair dyed, right? I mean, let's be honest. Raise your hand if your parents have to dye their hair because it's gray because of you. You definitely better have your hair done. Right? Yeah. Like, I know most definitely that all the gray hairs on my mama's head was because I drove her up the wall. And one day you'll have kids and they'll drive you crazy too, and you'll have to dye your hair. Now, listen. We've got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. I gave you the paper for your project, right? Yes. And I said on that, all you got to do is bring in a picture of your family. And if you can't, I explained that there's ways around that. I want you to think about this project and how not hard, after today's lesson, and even tomorrow's too, how not hard this project is. You're gonna have to give me 5 or more inherited traits about yourself.
Wow.
I mean, seriously. Hair color, eye color, hair type, eye shape, height, skin color, freckles, and allergies, plus some other stuff. Shh. Easy. You've got to give me 3 acquired traits. Now, I didn't make that as many because, honestly, once we get past like scars and bruises, not many of us in here have dyed hair. Hairstyle, we all have. Ears pierced, some of us. Tattoos, none of you. And honestly, right now, you all have muscle size. And there's 5 or more learned behaviors. So thinking about this, is this a difficult project?
No.
This is a very easy project that'll take us about 1 day to complete. Bring those pictures of your families in by Monday.